Good evening and welcome to the SRUC Elmwood Student Support Open Day. My name is Caroline Manzi and I'm the Marketing and Student Recruitment Officer at the Elmwood campus, and today I'm joined by our team of student support staff who are all going to introduce themselves to you shortly and talk a little bit about the roles that they have at the college. In the meantime, there is a Q&A box, so please feel free to get in touch with any questions as the event continues this evening, and we'll try our very best to answer all your questions. Okay, I'm now going to pass you over to Nikki.
Hi there, I'm Nikki and I'm part of the student support team here at Elmwood. So along with my colleague Kirsty, who you're going to meet very soon, I provide education support to students. So that can be anything from helping you maybe figure out how to manage your academic workload, helping you structure essays, or just things like getting better at revising for assessments if that's something you struggle with. You don't have to have a specific learning difficulty to access support from us. In fact, we'd encourage all students to get in touch if they're finding their studies difficult. Sometimes it can just be a problem with maybe one wee bit of coursework, and we're always happy to help you with that. We're not subject experts, so for example, we don't know much about subjects like gamekeeping, but it really doesn't matter the subject that you're studying. There's loads of different ways that Kirsty and I can help. If you do have a specific learning difficulty, something like maybe dyslexia or dyscalculia, we can usually help find ways of making studying just a little bit easier for you. And sometimes that just involves things like making sure you've got assessment arrangements in place, maybe something like a scribe or extra time for exams. If you think you might have a learning difficulty, but you don't know for sure, speak to us and we can either assess you ourselves or we can give you some advice about how you can get an assessment. It's really important that you let us know if you've got a learning difficulty or if you think you might find your college work difficult. So make sure you tell us on your application form if you can. Even if you don't know what your difficulty is, even just putting a wee note on your application to tell us that these are the things that I might struggle with, that can be really helpful to us. Just make sure that we can get all the support in place for you early on if you need it. You can make appointments to speak to us on your own, or if there's a few of you in the same class that are all struggling with the same thing, you can set up a group appointment with us. Sometimes it's a wee bit easier to ask for help if you know that you're not the only one that needs support with something. Most of the support that we give students at the moment is done online, and this is likely to be the case next year as well, but you'll have access to all our support systems through online systems like Microsoft Teams as soon as you're enrolled. We'll also give you our contact details at the end of this evening's session, and if you want to speak to one of us, then you can just send us a wee email and we'll get back to you. So I've mentioned Kirsty a few times. I'm going to pass you over to her now so that she can tell you a wee bit more about what she does.
Hi, I'm Kirsty, and as Nikki said, I work alongside her supporting students with their academic work. But I also have a pastoral role, which means I support students with their health and well-being alongside Nicola, Jackie, and our mental health support. I'm going to explain what pastoral support could mean for you. At this point, we can't say exactly as next year will look, as Nikki said, but for most classes there'll be an element of online learning with practical work done on campus. We'll be able to offer you face-to-face support when you're on campus and online support when you want to contact us from out with the college. However, for the remainder of this academic year, we won't be working on campus. So for setting up things over the summer and for the next little while, our conversations with you will be over the phone, face-to-face on Teams or by email. If you think you would like a visit to the campus as part of your transition, we can discuss this and arrange a time for you to visit the campus when we know it'll be quiet and keeping in line with social distancing and student number guidance. Our aim is to make sure that any students who need any kind of help, adjustment or support gets what they need. If you're currently getting support at school, another college, university or in the community, let us know, and with your permission we can contact whoever that is to discuss what we can do to help support you. If you know of any adjustments you might need, you can let us know. This could be something like you might be a young carer, you might have a medical condition like epilepsy, diabetes, ADHD, asthma. It's always good for us to be aware just in case you need any assistance over the year. It won't have any impact on your chances of being offered a place. It just means that you know what we can do to help you should you need it at any time. With your agreement, when you share information with us, we'll open a personal learning support plan or a PLSP. This is held confidentially within our team and is where we store what you tell us and what you want us to do for you. If you don't want us to share the information or you don't want us to open a PLSP, that's also okay, but we would encourage you to, because it'll help us and it'll help you as much as we can if we can record it and keep it. Where needed and with your permission, we'll share the information with your tutors so that they can make the adjustments needed for you in class. And that could be in class with face-to-face classes or with coursework. So it could be something like you need to be sitting near the front of the class, or you need your coursework presented in a certain way. We can make sure all that's in place for you. There's lots of things that we can put in place to help. So if you know of anything at all, speak to us and we'll do what we can. If you, your parents, carers or a support worker want to speak to us, this can be just now if you're thinking about applying, or you may have already applied, or at any point throughout the year, just get in touch with us and we'll all do what we can. There'll be an email address given at the end that you can email and one of us will get in touch to have a chat. I'll now pass you over to Nicola.
Hi, I'm Nicola and I work in the student support team in the role of funding alongside Jackie, who you'll meet shortly, and the pastoral team alongside Kirsty and Jackie. So Kirsty's given details of the pastoral support we can offer, so I'll give some details of on the funding side of things. Depending on the level of course you'll be applying for, depends on where you'll apply for your funding. So you'll either apply directly through SRUC or through the Students Award Agency Scotland, which is referred to as SAS. Students who will apply directly through SRUC for funding are students who are coming onto our further education courses. So these are if you've applied for an NC or an SVQ level. Students who will be applying through SAS are students who are going onto our higher education courses. So these are the HNCs, HNDs or degree level. SAS is a completely separate organisation to SRUC, and so we don't have access to their systems or your application. So when you submit that, you'll do that online and you'll track it via your SAS account. So if you've applied for a further education course, that's the NCs, SVQs, the funding applications that were opened earlier this month. So you may already have been sent an email. If not, this should be sent very shortly, and it'll contain a link that you'll go online and key your funding application. As part of that application, you'll be asked to provide evidence which you'll upload directly to your online account, and it's important that you keep a note of your login and account details, as you'll need to go back in and update information, and then once your award's been calculated, you then need to go back onto your account and accept it. So if you've applied for a higher education course, that's the HNC, HND or degree, you can go to the SAS website and make your application there. And their applications for this academic year have opened now. They opened at the start of April. It is important for SAS that you get your application in as soon as possible, because in order to have your funding in place for the start of your course, they need to have your application with all your relevant information uploaded by the end of June. SAS are currently running some online sessions to offer support. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go online to SAS and book in to one of their online sessions, and they'll work through an application with you and show what information you need to upload. A good source of information is the Student Information Scotland website. That's got lots of information about funding and what you're potentially eligible for. It's also got a funding calculator, so you key in basic details. It won't give you exact amounts, but it'll give you an idea of what you might be able to access. We can upload the details for the student information website at the end as well. So I'll now hand you over to Jackie, who'll give you a wee bit more information on mental health supports at SRUC.
Hi, my name is Jackie and I'm part of the student support team at Elmwood. My job is also to support students with their health and well-being, and I'm also part of the funding team too. You've already heard from my colleagues about these roles, so tonight I'm going to give you a brief description on the specialist mental health support that you can access if required. As you've heard, there is pastoral support for mental health and well-being, but if needed, SRUC can provide a more specialised mental health support to help you through your studies. This can take the form of one-to-one sessions or group sessions to explore any mental health concerns you have and provide a safe and confidential space for you to talk. This service can liaise with external services if that is required and support you to connect with various networks in your local communities, as well as within SRUC. I will now pass you over to Margaret.
Hi everyone, I'm Margaret and I'm the Residence Manager in the Campus Hall of Residence. The residence is situated behind the main college building, and we have accommodation for 72 students in single study bedrooms with shared bathroom and kitchen facilities. We have a large common room with a seating area, pool table and television and with Wi-Fi throughout the building. With a laundry room downstairs with coin-operated machines and dryers for students' use. The residence is staffed 24 hours a day, so there's always somebody available if needed. The proposed charges for 2021 to 22 are £3,500. This is for a standard room with shared facilities. All accommodation is self-catered. Application forms and further information can be obtained on the SRUC website or by contacting me directly. Look forward to hearing from you. I'll just pass you over to Avril now. Thanks, Avril.
Hi, I'm Avril Ray, the Careers Advisor at SRUC's Elmwood campus. My key role is to provide a dedicated and impartial careers information, advice and guidance service to all our students throughout their journey with the SRUC and beyond. This is delivered on an individual needs basis and can range from helping students to plan their career and future pathway after completing their course, explore alternative options if the course or college isn't right for them, discover what they're good at and uncover the range of jobs that could suit them, explore information regarding further training or courses and progression routes, research and establish positive industry links, and develop key employability skills such as searching and applying for jobs or to prepare for forthcoming interviews. Students can make individual appointments, attend a careers drop-in session or seek any help or advice through phone or email. The careers service is currently delivered online through Teams. In addition, students can freely access a range of helpful resources on our dedicated careers service page on Moodle. That covers the careers service. Thank you for listening. I'll pass you back to Caroline. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Avril. I've got a couple of questions in already, so thanks very much if you've already got in touch this evening. The first question here is regarding funding. It says, hello, I am coming onto the college to do an NC course. I clicked the link in the email for funding and it has asked me for login information. I haven't received any login information, so I'm unsure where else to access the funding page. When I look in the website, it speaks about SAS a lot, so I was wondering if there is a direct link for the funding page. Shall I pass that on to you, Nicola?
Hello, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that link's not working. That does sound like it's maybe a particular error with the link, because I know that there's lots of other people who have applied to us already. So maybe if you could share your details with Caroline at the end, then we could get back in contact with you directly. If you've got an email or a telephone number, then we can come back and just see what the issue might be there.
Yeah, that's good advice. Even if you wanted just to drop your email into the bottom of your message there, and it's just myself that will see that. Got another question now. I think this is for you, Margaret, regarding accommodation. It says, hello, I will be coming to college from Aberdeenshire. I'm not relocating, so will not require halls of residence, but I was wondering if the college were in contact with any local B&Bs, etc., that would take on mature students for a couple of days a week for the academic year.
Unfortunately, we really don't have a list of local accommodation now. It hasn't been required for a number of years, and the list we had has just disappeared. If it was B&B accommodation you were looking for, I would suggest you go to somewhere like Visit Scotland, to be quite honest with you, because there's one or two people who do bed and breakfast in the town, and you know, they might be able to help you that way. I certainly wouldn't rule out the residence if that is even for mature students. You know, I'm sure we might be able to help you some way or another if you were wanting to come down just for a day or two through the week. So, you know, do get in touch with me and we'll see what we could maybe do to help you.
That's great. Thanks, Margaret. Next question I've got looks like it to do with support that the person's had in school. I've had support in class at high school. How will I know what support I'll need when I'm at college? Okay, I'll pop that one over to you, Kirsty.
Yep. Yep, if you want to get in touch with us, again at the email that's given at the end, you can just email there and one of us will pick that up and we can have a chat about what support it is you've had at school and how we can support you with that, and it might be that we can link in with the school. Sometimes what we find is that sometimes you don't need the exact same support because it can be quite different, you know, what you need support for at school to what you might need support for with us. But yeah, we can chat that through and we can see what we need to put in place and sort that out before you get started.
That's great, thanks Kirsty. The next question says, is there help I can get with budgeting my finances? Okay, Nicola.
Hi, yeah, absolutely. Both Jackie and myself would be able to do that. We have an area on our Moodle, which is our virtual learning environment as well, that gives lots of hints and tips and ideas and things on there. But absolutely, we can sit and work out budgets and planning, you know, the money that you do have. And we also have discretionary funds as well. So if after we'd done a budget, we found that you were needed maybe a wee bit extra, we can support you to put in an application for our discretionary fund, which is a hardship fund.
That's great, thank you, Nicola. Next one says, is there someone I can speak to if I'm feeling anxious or upset while at college? Kirsty?
Okay, yep. What we're hoping, so if you were at college and you know you thought you needed to speak to somebody, then there'll probably one of us that will be around. You can come down and speak to us. But as Jackie explained as well, we also have a counsellor who will be in place. So they may not be available for you to come and speak to straight away, but that could be arranged that you could have weekly sessions if that's felt needed to speak to them. So yeah, there's always one of us about, whether it's on campus or whether it's, if we're not on campus, we're available, you know, when we're at home. So yeah, we can be contacted by phone, by Teams on a face-to-face chat like this, or Teams Messenger, or email. So yeah, don't feel there's nobody to speak to. There's always somebody to reach out to.
That's good advice. Thanks, Kirsty. The next question I've got here is, when should you apply for next year? I'm currently in 5th year. Would anyone like to take that one?
I can take that if you want. Yeah, if you're thinking about coming next year and you've not put an application in, then get your application in. You know, as soon as you know what course it is you want to do. Some of our courses fill up quite quickly, so we would advise to get your application in, and you know, as soon as. If you want to speak to one of us or speak to somebody in one of the academic teams, if you're maybe not sure about the course, we can arrange for that as well, so that you can, you know, get a really good understanding of what the course is and what's involved before you make your final decision.
That's great, Kirsty. I've got another question here. They're really good this evening. Hi, I will be classed as a mature student. Been a while since I've been at school and I've had to do any form of studying. Do you have any tips for a rusty brain? Nikki, I think this is one for you.
I love that question. That's a brilliant question. I think that's my favourite question so far out of all the events. So many tips that would probably, yeah, I would probably see us through to 9 o'clock. So I'm not going to give you all my tips here, but what I would say is 2 things. First of all, if you want to give us your email address in the questions and answers, I can send you a bunch of tips. But also the other thing I would say is, if you've not applied yet, then put a note of that on your application form so that we know to look out for you when you begin your course, because although you perhaps don't need a personal learning support plan, it would be really good to get you in and get a wee chat, and it would be great to go through some tips and tricks then, because you're right, it is difficult coming back into studying, and the brain does take a wee while to kind of get oiled up again, I guess. But yeah, feel free to give us your email address and I will certainly send you some tips in the meantime, maybe get you practicing over summer before you come to college.
That's great, thanks Nikki. I'm just keeping up because the next question we've had in I think will be for you as well. Can you tell me if I'm dyslexic?
Yeah, so there's kind of two answers to this. Yes and no. I am not, neither Kirsty or I can do a formal assessment. We're not educational psychologists. However, we can assess you for dyslexia and give you a good idea as to whether you're dyslexic or not. So we can do what's called a diagnostic screening assessment. We've got two types of assessment that we can use with you, depending on whether you're on campus or off campus. So we've got one that works via the computer, which is for students that are not on campus, or if we're not on campus. And we've also got a paper-based one, which some students prefer to do the paper-based one. So if you're coming onto an NC course or an SVQ course, we would do one of those tests with you. It will give you a really good idea whether you're dyslexic or not, and we would then, if it says you're dyslexic, we would act as though you are dyslexic. We would put the assessment arrangements in place as though you are definitely dyslexic, just in case be. If you are applying for an HN course, then we would put you forward for an educational psychologist assessment, because that would then allow you to apply for disabled students allowance, which I actually forgot to mention when I spoke first of all. So disabled students allowance is for any student at the HN level with a disability or learning difficulty. So if you're going to be on the HN course, that's what we would do. We would get you forward for an ed psych assessment and doing a DSA application from there to give you more support.
That's great, thanks Nikki. I'm just going to pop you up now, Avril. The next question's coming for you. Is there someone I can speak to about writing a CV or finding out about courses I can progress onto?
Yes, absolutely. That's sort of the key part of our role in the career service. So yes, if someone was needing individual help with applying or searching or discovering possible routes, certainly have a one-to-one appointment with myself and we could chat through, and that would be on a one-to-one basis and confidential as well. So yes, very much a needs service and delivered to what individual students are looking for. So happy to help with a range of going for jobs and searching for different routes.
That's great, thanks Avril. The next question I've got is, if I wanted to speak to the college counsellor, would I have to come into the campus, or is it possible to do online? Okay, Nicola.
The college counsellor has been working the same as us guys at the moment, in the fact that they can offer Teams appointments, they can offer phone calls, emails and things. So that whilst we're all working remotely, that might change at some point in the next academic year, that you can go onto campus, but no, you can do it through the Teams, you can do telephone calls, you would organise what would work best for you. And once we get to the next academic year, we'd have more of an idea whether those facilities would be available on campus if that was something someone was wanting.
Great, thank you. The next bit, gosh, I've got a lot of really good questions this evening. Says, I am excited to join the course I've signed up for, but I'm really anxious about the social aspect of it. Before COVID, I've always been quite shy. Obviously, the pandemic has had an effect on this too. Going to college and meeting people has me a bit worried. Any helpful tools or tips to get me through the first week? Thanks, Kirsty. I'll just pop you up.
Okay. Firstly, you're definitely not the only person that feels like this, you know, and I imagine next year there'll be lots of people, but even before COVID, we had lots of students would come to us and say, you know, they felt very kind of similar to what you're saying about starting. So we can just take it at your pace. And again, it'd be good, you know, if you felt you wanted to get in touch with us over the summer, you can do that. You can either send Caroline your contacts and we can get in touch with you after the meeting, or you can take our email address away and email us, you know, at a time later on. But if we're aware that that's how you're feeling, we can have lots of chats over the summer, you know, helping you get ready for coming in. And when you are due to be on campus one of the first times, we can do that gradually. We can make sure that there's somebody around in case you want to come and speak to somebody. We can you can come and have a look at the campus beforehand. We can arrange for that to happen so that you can see where you'll be, where the classroom will be. We've got quiet areas that students can go to, you know, if everything's just getting a little bit much and you just want a little bit of time out. So there's lots of things that we can do and we can put in place. So yeah, get in touch with us and we can do lots of work with that over the summer to make you feel a bit better before you get started.
Thanks, Kirsty. I hope that answered your question there as well. Next one I've got is, when and how do I get in touch if I think I'm going to need additional support at college?
Do you want me to take that one again? Yep. Yep. Again, just email us, and you know, as soon as you want, because it's never too early, you know, to start that transition and to start making those contacts, and it might make you feel a little bit better about coming, and to make sure we've got everything in place. So drop us an email, and one of us will get in touch, and we can discuss what support it is that you need and what we can put in place for you getting started. And then we'll know what you need, and you'll know what to expect at the start of next year.
That's great. Got one here. I would love to come to the campus for a tour. Is the college allowed to do this? I'll pop Kirsty up. I know what you're going to say.
I was waiting. I thought somebody else might want to turn. Yes and no. At the moment, we are restricted to bringing in extra people onto campus just now because we're limited to the numbers of students we can have at once. But get in touch with us and we'll do what we can. We can look at it. Might not be straight away, but whether it's over the next few weeks or actually over the summer, once our students get finished, we continue to work over the summer period. So when it's a bit quieter, we'd definitely be able to get you on campus to have a look round. We would just have to get the timings right to make sure that we're sticking within all the guidelines to do that.
Great. Next question says, they can't decide between two courses. What is the best option for them? What should they do? Would anybody like to offer some advice? Okay, thanks, Avril.
Hi there, that's certainly a good question, and often some dilemmas that students face at different times in their life in terms of what pathways they want to go down. You're certainly welcome to get in touch and discuss sort of what your thoughts are, or if there's any further information regarding either the courses that would maybe help you make that decision, or even just to discuss about yourself and maybe what course would suit you best. So certainly feel free to get in touch if I can help with that decision making process. Likewise, if you do start a course with the college and find that the course isn't quite right for you, not what you expected, get in touch as well and discuss. We could explore alternative options, or if there's a chance to perhaps change direction if it's early on in that as well. So yes, definitely open to explore options with individuals. So yeah, certainly get in touch.
Thanks, Avril. That's good advice. The next question, because there's a lot coming through, says, my course is very practical. Is there somewhere safe that I can store my valuables? Kirsty, I'll pop you up there.
Yeah, there's lockers available in the areas where you would be needing to get changed and to put on your PPE and things like that. So yes, there is places that you can store anything, but what we would also recommend is not to bring anything too valuable, in case it did get lost or anything. Just bring what you need for the day, but there is lockers and storage available.
Just on that topic, Kirsty, there's also been a question that's come in about, is there some way I can store medication that I have to take regularly?
Yep. Yes, within each area, we'd have your classes. There's storage areas for that. We've got lockable cabinets for medication. So if we've got something that you need to keep, and whether that's something, you have to take it on a regular basis, or you might need, or whether it's some kind of emergency medication, we can keep that in a safe place that's easily accessible to you when you're at college.
That's great, thank you. We've got a question here about accommodation. I'll just pop you up, Margaret. Somebody's wondering if there's any financial support with accommodation.
Yeah, well, I believe there is, yes. When you apply for your bursary, you would say you were staying in the Hall of Residence, and depending on your own personal circumstances, you might well be eligible for accommodation help towards the payment of your accommodation. We have students that the bursaries pay for all their accommodation, and we also have students that the bursaries pay part of it. It depends on the individual student, but when you apply for your bursary, that would be asked at that time. Okay.
That's great, thanks Margaret. Also, we've got somebody sociable here. They're just wondering if there's any groups or clubs that they can join. Okay, thanks, Nicola.
So our Students' Association have clubs and societies and things. These vary from year to year depending on what students are interested in. So if you're looking to join an existing club, then we would recommend you get in touch with our Students' Association, who are called SRUC. Or it might be that you have got an idea that you want to put forward, see if any other students are interested. You can also take that through to our Students' Association and look to see if it's something you could start up. If there isn't a society or a club within the Students' Association, it might be that there's other things locally as well that you can be linked in with. But again, get in contact with us, or we can link you in with our Students' Association and share information that's available.
That's great, thanks Nicola. Another question here is, I will be travelling by car to the campus. What is the parking situation like? Oh, thanks, Nicola.
Yeah, we have parking at the campus, and this year that's been freely available because it's been very limited numbers on the campus. Sometimes if all the classes are in, it can be a wee bit limited, but there's a number of car parks there, so you should be fine. And I would imagine if it's a blended learning approach that we're taking next year, there should be plenty of parking available. There's also parking at the residence as well, just to say that for Margaret.
That's great. Well, I think that's brought our questions to an end. I'm just going to wait and see if anybody else is wanting to get in touch. But in the meantime, does anybody want to add anything else to tonight's events before we close it? Okay, I think Kirsty, have you got some contact details that you want me to share?
Yep, they're there. Can you see them?
It's coming up with your screen, but there's not a document in there to share.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Oh, it was there a minute ago. Here we go.
Oh, we're building the tension now. Should I pop up your email address?
Yeah.
That'd be the best. I can just type that in just now.
Elmwood Student Support at sruc.ac.uk. It's, let me try again, because I can see it on my page, so I don't know why it's not. There.
That's it. Here we go.
That's it.
Oh, it's gone again.
There we go.
It's all going too well. Here we go.
I'm going to leave it like that so that it doesn't
don't touch anything.
So that's it's just all our names on it and then the email address.
So I'll just leave that up just for a little bit and just thank everybody who's managed to join us this evening. I really appreciate you coming along, especially on such a nice evening. Well, it is here in Fife. So yeah, thank you. And like Kirsty was saying, if there's any questions at all, any queries, do get in touch. And we look forward to hearing from you.